Hi Libra, welcome to your mid-October reading, your solar eclipse recap, and a brief look at the lunar eclipse on the 28th. So let's start with the solar eclipse recap. Let's talk love first. You're wondering, as of the 14th, if the path that you're on is the right path. There have been many reasons for you to change, but up until now, it's been all fun and games. Something is different now. The seriousness maybe, perhaps it's the world and how the world is changing. Perhaps it's you and where you're at in your life personally. Perhaps it's been catalyzed by some loss, right? It's been prompted by some deep loss that now has you thinking in more existential terms. Whatever it is that's brought you to the space of wanting something more substantial, the solar eclipse brought it to this culminating point. And now you're wondering, you can see the path that you're on, you see the trajectory. And although the Three of Cups is fun, it denotes celebration, fun, a certain levity of spirit. It's also about cheating. It's about affairs. It's about third-party situations. It's about addiction, things that are out of our control. So in terms of your romantic life, perhaps what you realized is that your partners have been more of an addictive counterpart to you than they have been an actual partner. Perhaps you have chosen people that you can't exhaust, that you can keep interacting with and they don't run out on you. And so there's been this sort of, I don't want to say really it's symbiotic, but there's a give and take that's been happening between you and your partners that now you're thinking like, is that the reason I should be with someone? Whatever the reasons are, that's one example. What you're thinking, the thought process is, the way I've been up until now, is that the way that one is when one is in love? Is the road that I have taken to love over and over again the right road? Or is there, the solar eclipse asked you quite bluntly, is there another road? Is there another way to do this that I have not figured out yet? Now, it also plays prominently into this, especially if you're married or have kids, is that you aren't just looking at things through the lens of right now and just yourself and your needs and wants. You feel this sort of standard set, not because you're haunted by the needs of others, not because you're putting their needs before your own in true Libra fashion. Actually, this season has brought out the very opposite in you, which of course it should. No, this is more about you looking at yourself through a very mature lens, and the decisions that you're making right now, you're making them for you and for future you, and for whomever future you will be with and have kids with, or whatever it is that you want to do. You're thinking in terms of that future, and what you want for that future is something really wholesome and really beautiful and really stable, and you're starting to feel that in your spirit as well, which is why I think it's really cool that the card that came up when we're talking about your disillusionment with love and romance is the Three of Cups, because that's how it's been up until now. And now it's like, no, the Six of Cups is so much more my speed. It's so much more what I want. It matches my romantic spirit so much more. And I'm actually kind of wondering, because I'm an intellectual, says Libra, why it took me so long to get from the Three of Cups to the Six of Cups. Well, although it is an interesting philosophical question, it's an interesting bit of rhetoric, it's still just not very important right now. Focus. Let's stay focused. Libra rising, you've got this lunar eclipse coming up in your 8th house. and you're really, really focused on yourself, right? But the crazy thing about that lunar eclipse that we're going to talk about in detail in the extended, the crazy thing about that lunar eclipse is that it makes you want to go back to your past in a way that's like compulsive. Like you've experimented it up again, and you've found a way to make yourself like think or believe that this person or situation from the past can actually be different, and it's not. But you really are pulled to it. And let's not say anything else until the next card. So 3 of Wands and the Empress, and you're honestly just too good for it. And it's going to cause a lot of conflict that you are too good for and should stay away from. That past is very messy. And I know that once a year you get that inclination to be messy. And I know it's always around your birthday because you feel like you do so much for everyone, which you do. And you feel like, you should have your time in the sun and you should get to be messy. But being free and having free will and, celebrating your autonomy and sovereignty is not the same thing as hoeing it up and, kind of running people over because it makes you feel good, or it gives your ego props. It's not cool. So I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying, so you're focused on yourself, really focused on yourself, perhaps to an extent that is toxic, which is why it brings up this toxic past, which is why you're so indulgent with yourself right now that toxic past has a way in to get back in your head and be like, oh, maybe, because it appeals to that really toxic part of you that's like, come on, just do it. Come on, you deserve something fun. You deserve something, passionate, whatever the fuck. So the solar eclipse also, not only did it change how you perceive the path that you're on when it comes to romance, it changed how you perceive yourself, how you perceive others. Like your standards have been upped, and those standards are now being reflected back to you and everyone that you see. And even when you look at yourself, when you think about yourself, you're judging yourself by an entirely new set of metrics. And the best thing about that is that it's you based. It's not somebody else's metrics. And I want you to really think about that, because for most of you, most of your life has been directed by somebody else's metrics. And now this solar eclipse was so powerful and so important for you, because it's coming from the inside out. Now it's your metrics that you're reflecting on others and saying, okay, this is what I feel about this person, or I like this person, I don't like this person, I want to be around this person, I don't want to be around this person. Before, the reel that was playing in the mind was, does this person like me? I want them to like me. What can I do for them? How can I help them? Now it's like the vision is very clear, and it has nothing to do with other people. Now, for a lot of people, you should be careful, because the conflict that comes out of this is also just pure shock. People do feel this very, very poignant moving away, It's really obvious that what you're saying is, I'm too good for this. I'm not doing this. Right? Don't do it. If you go back into something that you're too good for, all it does is take hits at your self-esteem, because you have to realize the tacit, really quiet message that your subconscious is getting, the one that determines how you feel about yourself. The message that it's getting when you do that is that you are at the caliber of someone who deserves to be repeatedly mistreated, disrespected, and will come back and do that again. So it's the most important thing, the thing you should be most conscious of, is whether or not you are giving yourself the positive feedback loop right now of, I am very valuable, I'm really, really special and important and beautiful and lovely. if to nobody else, I don't care, to myself, and that's what means something to me right now. My metrics are what counts, and that's what the video will be called, My Metrics. Okay, now, you know, there is a tendency that Libra has to be, the Devil card has come up in almost every reading. There is a tendency for you to go overboard and be quite dramatic about things, and this time is no different. This particular epiphany is no different. You have the wherewithal, you know, to understand and to process this realization and to look at things differently, but you do have that really dramatic kind of Venusian capacity to go overboard and take things too far, to isolate yourself too much, to become really quite like mechanical about the whole thing and start to pick it apart in an almost Capricorn, like super ambitious way. It gets very mercurial, it gets very intellectual. You're intellectualizing it. And that's great. You can intellectualize it all you want. You can think about your new path in these abstract terms. You can think about the past in these abstract terms. But you must realize that Venus in Virgo, it is messy. And even though you've got it all kind of, you know, like you've thought it all out and it's all classified, Venus in Virgo for Libra rising, that's in your 12th house. That's right behind you in your subconscious. It's messy. It makes you pine for a past that didn't exist. The only thing that comes to mind, and I'm really not trying to jump on any bandwagon, I did a podcast about Jada Pinkett Smith like a year ago when that whole thing happened with the Oscars. So I'm not like jumping on the hate train here. But you know that way that she just loves Pac and like nobody could stop her? She's a Virgo, but you know, not to bash them. I'm just saying Venus and Virgo energy is like pining, yearning for the messiest past that's like half your imagination and half real. Like some woman came out, this lady came out and was like, I know Jada didn't say Pac asked her to marry him when he was at Rikers, because they didn't even see each other when he was at Rikers, because and she did the breakdown of the dates and it was like, Jada Venus and Virgo. So it's messy, and it's messy without, like, it's the kind of messy where you will look at yourself or you will look at others and you'll go, what is the reason for this? Like, I would like to know why you are setting fire to your house while you're still sitting in it. And I would like to know why you are cognizant of that and still willing to do it. Like, this is very confusing to me because you know the mess that you're getting into. And you'll be having these conversations with yourself if you indulge this past that seems to be pulling on you. Also, don't discount the fact that people have a tendency to get like super obsessed with you, right? And like in an unhealthy way, like they don't even see you as a person. They don't actually care about what you like, what you don't like, how you feel. They just get so taken in by like the show, and it really does work against you. But in this particular case, it's like I think you want to believe that there's something meaningful or profound in that past that is better or understands you more than where you're at now. And what you need to understand is that your past was about other people and everything after the eclipse is about you. So to go all the way back there right now, after things have finally become about your metrics, is... it's such a disservice to yourself. It's so deeply unfair to who you are. And the love that you have for yourself, because you do have a lot of love for yourself and it's justified. Okay, so now, also when looking at this Capricorn and Gemini card, let's talk about work and money. So, you've got this itch, this urge to create even more streams of income. You're not satisfied with a few or just one. You are getting this compulsion. Everywhere you look, it's like you see money ideas or like ways to make money. And you're like, wait, there's absolutely no reason to struggle. There's 10 different ways that I can think of at the top of my head to make money. You're in that space and things can go super, super well. Super well. Especially, and I have this in my notes here, and I love this card for that, especially if you let go of what you think your industry is or what you think you're good at. Because the way the world is set up now, he's got a lot of tools on that table. You don't have to necessarily be in a certain field to be able to make money in it. There's so many passive ways to make money. And I think that's really where your head is like focusing, is like these really simple passive ways that may not have anything to do with what you went to school for or what you're interested in, but they will bring in money for you pretty easily. You're really interested in that stuff right now, as you should be, because I feel like you're coming out of a period not where you were financially stagnant, but more that confidence that one has to have to do business, make money, moving and shaking, all of that. That confidence was ebbing, it was pulling back, and it was probably as confusing to you as it was to all of us. But if you're never going to take breaks and rebuild your energy or rebuild your knowledge bank or rebuild your beauty secrets or any of the things that we do when we're by ourselves, if you're not going to take the time to do that stuff because you just love the light so much, then you'll lose the light. Because the only people that can stay in the light are people who do take time to be in the dark, who do take time to mend themselves and work on themselves in the dark. That's what makes them so appealing in the light. There's something that oversaturates you if you spend all your time in the light, because there's nothing that is a mystery anymore. There's nothing new that can be done or learned because you are completely exposed at all times. You are in real time learning, knowing, finding things out with everybody else. There's no reveal. There's no time to take a concept and dissect it and intellectualize it and sit with it before you come and say something about it or create some new thought process with it. There's no creativity there. There is performance, right? But the creativity doesn't happen. The creativity happens way before that, right? And if you look at something like improv, where the creativity is happening in the light, in the moment, that's not something that can be sustained. That's something that happens generally in very short spurts of time, because you need so much backstage, off-stage time to make that improv work. Again, it's the same thing here. So because the needs of others are not haunting you in the same way, you are feeling a lot more comfortable in taking that time off stage and taking that time to, be in the dark and learn yourself and know yourself. And, it's a process that we should all go through in our season, in our birthday season. Like, it's your time to assess and reassess, and it's beautiful. And it leads to such emotional growth and contentedness and happiness, and you feel the joy of the progress and the hard work you've done and the progress you've made. You're able to really bask in the work that you've done and the way that you feel, because it doesn't matter what romantic relationship didn't work out. It doesn't matter how you've been viewed. It doesn't matter what your reputation has been up until now, whether it's work or it's love. You have figured out a new standard for yourself, and it doesn't matter who you used to be, and you're not willing to hear it from anybody either. You don't care about who you used to be or what used to be or what happened. I will say that if you really truly want it all to go away and to be able to start new the way I know you want to, then I think that it would be very smart to get your affairs in order, to apologize to the people that you should apologize to mend the bridges that you should mend. Because the only thing really that can stop you when you're in this mood and you have this energy is burnt bridges. So you want to be careful with that. You want to go back and really, while you're in this deep period of reassessing and, you know, being in that cave, learning your new metrics, you want to apply those new metrics you have for yourself on your own past and see if you were the one moving funny or not, because you might be really surprised. But it all brings you to this beautiful present moment of fruition where you not only have this new set of standards for yourself, you're living up to them. You see yourself thriving. You see yourself putting in the work. You see yourself gaining ground in many respects. And the only thing I would say to you now is not to lose the momentum of it when we reach Scorpio season, which we'll also talk about more in the extended. But that height of cardinal air, the changing of the season, that air that changes the season when it's plunged to the depths of the, you know, icy still bog, it gets lethargic. It gets very slow and very tired and very like, what the fuck, get off my back, bro. And Libras, specifically Libras, just hate people being on them. It's like I've never seen anyone have such a painful, visceral reaction to like social bullying or like, you know, like at a family party, like the aunt who won't leave you alone or whatever. Like Libras have such a visceral reaction to being socially pushed around or abused. They're like, ow, ow, you're hurting me. But you're not that anymore, are you? It's interesting because I wonder if you're thinking it yourself. Like, why do I feel so different? Why do I genuinely not give a fuck what these people think? Why am I not even doing that thing I usually do when I'm like looking at them and thinking like, oh, what should I, and all the calculations I'd be doing and anticipating people's needs and da, 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 da. Why am I not doing that? Why do I really not care? Why am I looking at you and going, I know. Take a good look. I know. That's and you know what? Good for you. Because if you want my opinion, I've been telling every Libra I know for my whole life, you need to stop giving a fuck about these people. Do you want me to tell you what I tell every Libra I know? Okay, I'm going to tell you real fast. At some point or another, something will happen to a Libra I love, and they will come to me and say, tantamount to, I want to do this, but everybody else wants me to do this, and I'm afraid. And I will say exactly this. You know you need to stop giving a fuck about these people, right? Because these people don't give a fuck about you. Why do you care what they're going to think of the decision you're about to make? They don't give a fuck about you. Even if you make the decision they want you to make, they're going to judge you anyway. Because they live to judge you. Why? Because you're prettier than them. What are you doing? In the extended, good, right? I know, it's effective, it works. In the extended, we're gonna talk work and money. We're also gonna talk about material independence. I have a lot of notes on that. And then we're gonna get into, oh, I have a lot of notes here. And then we're gonna get into Mars and Scorpio. We're gonna get into the lunar eclipse. And then I have a bunch of questions for you about the light and how to be your own light. Can we carry the spotlight around? We can. What if we can? We can turn it off whenever we want. That's cool. All right. So the extended is this now, where we keep talking, I keep shuffling, we keep hanging out, and then there's like a brief look at the cards. Okay, so that's what we're doing, and those links are below. And there's a preview right after this of that. Love you, love you, love you. Happy birthday. And I know I was really nice to you guys last month about the whole, like, let me tell you about Libra's thing. And maybe this very frank talk doesn't seem quite as loving, but rest assured it is even more from an even deeper place of love. These people are not worth it. Good that you're not thinking about them. Think about yourself. You deserve to think about yourself. Because you're wonderful, and honestly, no one is going to be as considerate of you as you can be. So we need you to think about yourself too, because we all get the fruits of your consideration, but you don't really. And you deserve to, because you're wonderful. So many of you are my favorite people. I hope you know that. So many of you. I have so many Libras I love in my life. Oh, so many of you. Happy birthday. I love you. I love you. And we're back. Okay, welcome to your extended, or the second part of your extended. Listen, I did what I could last night, and then it was like the weight of what I was trying to tell you hit me. This whole idea of material independence, it's so much deeper than have I been doing what I've been doing for my family? Have I been doing it for society? Have I been doing it for how it reflects back at me? To go from that to, I really don't care. I have to do something where I feel like I'm standing on my own, and I'm doing it for reasons that make sense to me and make me respect myself. It's heavy. It's a lot. Okay, let's move on. Mars and Scorpio. The balance between money and people. So Mars and Scorpio, it's like nothing's too difficult. We can get this done. We can do anything we want to. We can do anything we put our mind to. We can have anything we desire.